Hi, this is Menachem Copperman from Kadat V'Kadin. In light of the terrible car accidents that happened this past week where a few young women lost their lives, I've been receiving quite a few phone calls from young families who want to do their estate planning and had a few questions, and I would like to address two of them today and share with you two very important points. The first one has got to do with setting guardianship for your children if chas v'shalom something happens to you. So it's important to note that when a young family is doing their estate plan, it's a different focus than an older person who is making an estate plan. Usually an estate plan or a will refers mainly to the financial aspects of dividing your estate, whereas when we're talking about young couples, the main issue is taking care of the family and making sure that your children are taken care of and there's no machloket in the family what should be done with them if chas v'shalom a tragedy were to happen to you. So therefore, it's important to sit down, the couple, husband and wife, sit down together and think what would be the best option for your children if chas v'shalom something happened to both of you. Where would you want them to grow up? Who would you want to take care of them? If it's the maternal grandparents, the paternal grandparents, whichever side it is, or a sister, or if you're olim, it could be very close friends of yours that actually live in Israel or are your neighbors, and write their names in your will. What's important to note here is that you don't have the final say on this issue. The final say of who will take care of your children is the court. The court has the right to have the final say on it. And the reason is because sometimes parents, in extreme cases, parents may make decisions that are not relevant for the children. You can write a will today, and if something happens chas v'shalom a later time, and there's a 16-year-old child who officially needs a guardian, but he doesn't want to live with the people you allocated, the court may make different decisions. But at the end of the day, it's important to put down names in your will, and that will be the default that will be decided by the authorities. The good thing about sitting, even though this is a hard decision, the positive thing about sitting and thinking about this is that you realize that you as the parents, even though we're not perfect and you're not perfect, you're the best, most perfect people for your children. So at least that's a positive part of it. And from a halachic perspective also, halachically you have no right, you don't own your children to be able to decide what would happen to them if chas v'shalom something happened. But again, what you will put down in your will be the default also from a halachic perspective. It's important to note that also you can separate between the family side and the financial side. Let's say your sister is a very talented and warm person who would be great to raise your children, and your brother is an accountant. You can have your sister be named as the guardian, and your brother as an accountant be named as a person who will take care of the financial issues if chas v'shalom a tragedy happens, and he will be allocating the money for the needs of the children or for the people who are taking care of your children in that case. That's point number one regarding guardianship. Point number two is a question I get asked a lot is, we're a young couple, we're only in our late 20s, 30s, and if we write a will, our kids are little kids. Who would know even that we wrote a will? So the answer is that you can leave a copy with the lawyer or the rabbi, or both, who are doing the legal and halachic work on your estate plan, or you can leave it with a close relative. It could be your parents or a sibling, and they know that they have an original copy of your will. A second option, which is a great service that the State of Israel offers in the past few years, is there's an option to submit your will to the Rasham HaYerushot, to the inheritance registrar. It's in Kanfi Nisharim in Yerushalayim if you're in this area, or in the Tel Aviv area, it's in around LaGuardia area, and you submit your will there. You have to bring it in personally and deposit it in by the registrar's office, and once it's there, it cannot get lost. Even if something happens in your house, things get lost, you can't find anything, they have an original copy. And that is the first advantage. It just can't get lost. And the second thing is, which is exactly the point we're talking about, even if nobody knows you wrote a will, if chas v'shalom something happens to you, once the authorities get to distributing your estate, it'll automatically pop up in the computer that a will exists, and they will be obligated to take out the original from where it was deposited and read it and see what you requested. So that is the second option, is by depositing it, and that way, even though your kids do not know that you actually wrote a will, it will for sure be implemented because the authorities know about it, and all the institutions, the banks, the tabor, whatever it is, will be informed of its existence if chas v'shalom it needs to be used. So I hope these tips about guardianship, about depositing your will, were informative, and I wish you all to merit a long and healthy life. But on the other hand, make sure to take care of things for chas v'shalom situations we wouldn't want to happen. Bye.